All right, thank you very much. Alongside Chris Johnston and Pierre LeBrun, Connor McDavid saying maybe that's the hockey gods getting us back for Game 6, which we didn't deserve to win. Kind of the opposite script of how they got through the Western Conference Final. Sergei Bobrovsky had a lot to say on this night. CJ, he was fantastic, and the Oilers could not find a way to elevate enough pucks and get anything past him.
Third oldest guy on the ice, and a performance for the ages, I would say, especially given how things went last year in the Stanley Cup Final for Sergei Bobrovsky. Really struggled in that series, and Florida was knocked away easily. So this is a shot at redemption for him. And we've talked so much entering the series, but what does this mean for McDavid and Draisaitl and their legacies? Sergei Bobrovsky is probably a Hall of Famer if he finds a way to get through this series and lift the cup. And I think, clearly in this game, got his teammates comfortable, had probably 2.5 breakaways in the first period alone that he stopped. A number of dangerous chances throughout the night, and he's the main reason Florida finds that way to flip the script that you're mentioning and carve out a Game 1 victory. First time ever the Panthers, by the way, have led a Stanley Cup Final the two previous times. They never got ahead in the series.
And I know within the Panthers organization internally, over the last couple of years, if there's one concern with Sergei Bobrovsky at times, it's been when he's played a number of games in a row and hasn't had enough rest and time to recover. Right. That's when they feel his game wears down. They've had a week off before the Cup Final. They haven't had to go 7 games in the entire playoffs. The pace of play for Sergei Bobrovsky to recover and be his best is a perfect recipe right now, and they got double off days in the Stanley Cup Final between 2 and 3, and again the rest of the series.
Made some really athletic high-end saves throughout that game. We were wondering what the standard would be, how many power plays either side would get, but in particular the Oilers, Pierre, because it is so deadly for them. They had some looks tonight. Bobrovsky took away a lot of their best chances, but the power play overall had some pretty strong chances.
Yeah, I wouldn't come away deflated if I was the Edmonton Oilers just because you went 0-4. Now, certainly if you would have told Edmonton before this game, and we talked about this so much, will they get 3 power play chances a game or 1, and how different that would be? Well, they did get their 3, and they did get their looks, but they come away with the donut, and a lot of that was Bobrovsky. But let's give the Panthers PK a bit of credit. They had a lot of pressure up top. Made Bouchard in particular have to make quicker decisions. And, I think that affected the Oilers' power play at times. But still, I got a text from an NHL coach who said, if you're Florida, despite killing all 3 tonight, you do not want to take a single penalty the rest of the Stanley Cup Final. That's how confident he was that the Edmonton power play would connect here.
Which one?
Game 2. Well, I'm not. Read my piece in The Athletic.
I'm just going to start asking you every time you say that.
Well, look, and the Panthers' PK may be overlooked a little bit. It's been a strength of theirs through the playoffs, and they're so aggressive. And you just wonder, how will Edmonton adjust to that? Chris Knobloch had stood out to me after the game talking about how every system has pros and cons, and now we get into this thing, right? There's a chance to look over the video and make those kind of adjustments, and I think you'll see some of those tactically in Game 2.
So the Oilers didn't make a ton of errors, but the Florida Panthers are a team that are going to make you pay for those errors when you make them. On their first goal against, guys, all 3 forwards get caught pretty deep in the offensive zone, and Zach Hyman, I think, stopped moving his feet a little bit on the back check. I think that was a bit of a costly error right there. And then you push ahead to the second goal. There were some mistakes in the defensive zone. Evander Kane loses a guy in the middle of the ice. They didn't make a ton of mistakes, CJ, but the Panthers are a team that can really pounce on you when you do, and they certainly did that tonight.
They can, although it's one of these ones, right? This was not a Florida Panthers game. This is not textbook how they play. It's not the way they've been winning in these playoffs. And so there's 2 ways to look at that coin, right? I mean, it's either, hey, they played maybe one of their worst games or their worst game of the series, they got to win, or are we flipping the switch here and saying, from the Edmonton side of things, perhaps this is a chance for them, that there's a blueprint in there. There's some things they can build upon. And so I guess it depends which side of the microphone you're on looking at that one. But Florida, being in their dressing room after the game, they were pretty pumped up as you would expect after that game, because they really feel like they're going to get much better as this goes along.
First time in these playoffs that the Edmonton Oilers found themselves shut out in a game. We'll see how their offense bounces back in game number 2.